It's hard to believe that without the internet in the current era, life would be impossible.
Waiting to pair.
What do I mean by that? With the increasing interconnectedness of people over the web, our daily chores have been made much easier than they were before. In the current era we live in, it's communication that binds us together, and the internet is one major source of communication. So you yourself can imagine how hard it would be to fit into a world without the internet. This video here is to show you some of the problems that would happen if the internet collapsed. Hold tightly. You're in for a surprise. Make sure you watch the video until the end so that you can find out the top 10 things that would happen if the internet collapsed. Leave a comment saying, "I subscribed," and I'll reply to as many of you as I can saying, "Thank you." Number 10, worldwide financial problems. To start with, consider large companies like Google and eBay or Samsung and Apple who rely heavily on the internet for hardware sales. These are a few giants who have the largest amount of shares in the US stock market and the world economy. And with no internet, placing orders or buying and selling online would diminish, causing a collapse in the economy. Coming to the stocks, they will decline, which would degrade customer morale and would shatter their trust in the financial system. Apart from all this, the entire banking and bill payment system would be affected, and you would not be able to pay your bills online, and you would not be able to make any online transactions. The entire world would be without banking services, and it would only be a matter of a few days until all your stock markets would be wiped out. Number 9, commerce issues. Problems with lack of internet include the stop of sales on Amazon, eBay, PayPal, and all clothing retailers worldwide. A huge proportion of businesses that operate online would come to a halt. Apart from the sudden change in the internet business, world commerce that relies heavily on the internet for communications related to managed sales would slow down, and then would completely collapse. Even if only sections of the internet collapsed, interwoven international sales would suffer. Then, of course, there is the problem of any business or individual that relies upon cloud computing for accounting services, inventory, payroll, etc. Even if the businesses manage to run offline, they will be affected to some extent without having internet on board. Coming in at number 8, the effect on hospitals. Majority of hospitals today use the internet to keep track of patient records, their medical history, and the medicines prescribed. And a loss of the internet would mean recreating the entire histories of patients manually. And in doing so, you could be losing lives. Quite a few hospitals use the internet to perform surgeries when senior surgeons are unavailable, and to monitor the vitals of the critical patients. And if there is no internet, these patients will die. Healthcare providers based at different locations depend on the internet to communicate with the other health providers.
Stop! Did you know every time you shop on Amazon, you're helping someone make passive income?
Providers to provide the best possible health service assistant. Be it just consulting a physician or sending a medical record from one location to another, the internet is a very vital thing in all this to maintain an efficient and effective workflow. And what happens when the internet dies out is that healthcare providers won't be able to interact with one another, records won't be transferred to other locations, and doctors won't know the history of the patients, and they won't be able to treat the patients effectively. Furthermore, internet downtime can affect patients that are not even physically at the healthcare facility. What if a potential new patient is trying to call and schedule a first-time appointment? Without the internet, they would just walk away, helpless. Number 7 on the list is communication problems. The first change to occur would be that of communication. Communication would become a tough deal without the internet. You need to forget your cell phones, as the cables and satellites that phone services use wouldn't be able to operate. Coming to emails, we would no longer be able to send or receive emails, and would be going back to writing letters for correspondence. No internet would also mean a goodbye to the social media. Social media platforms like Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram require internet for being used. So, just imagine what life would be without the internet. Even if businesses still operate offline, communication within an organization would also become a lengthy process. And if you want to communicate with other branches of your organizations, you might prefer shutting down all of them and keeping only one. Number 6, problems in transportation and increase in street crimes. Most of you reading this right now may not know that traffic lights work with the internet. Traffic lights use the internet to get updates about the traffic, and if the internet just collapsed, the traffic lights would either keep working by giving the wrong signals, or the traffic lights would stop working, leaving people in shambles, traffics in jams, and cities in chaos. The traffic surveillance through CCTVs would no longer be operational, which would increase traffic problems. Imagine what it would be like without having traffic lights. Talking about the street crimes, it's quite obvious that crimes are usually committed at night. But when you are out of internet, it would be easier for crimes to occur even at daytime. The first thing that would increase with no internet service is crimes, as surveillance cameras would not be monitoring anything, and the police would not be informed automatically about any ongoing crime. Number 5, educational problems. Today, most of the colleges and universities use online portals for interacting with students or for interacting with teachers. Similarly, teachers use portals for keeping student records, syllabuses, and class schedule details. And students use portals for their learning. All course material is available at the portals, and students can also keep track of their educational performance by using.
Do you want to earn a living online? Well, the reality is you have two options. First, you can build a
using their portals. If the internet would no longer be present at our educational setups, we would face a lack of new knowledge. The exchange of ideas would be no longer possible. Overall, the education systems would no longer flourish. Moreover, the internet system would affect things so badly that young scholars would all be scholars with outdated information, which would cause problems in progressing. Number 4, researchers hindered. With the previously mentioned problems in education, the ongoing researchers would be badly affected. A researcher requires internet 24/7 on the run. Everything from literature reviews to analysis needs the internet. You may actually not realize how important this one is, but if there was internet outage, in order to do research, you will need to go through hundreds, maybe even thousands of books in a library to find out that specific information. Since the internet came into existence, everything is available just a click away. Today, we have the internet available, and you just need to Google anything you are looking for. Number 3 on the list is food, money, and employment tensions. When we talk about no food, it does not mean that we will turn into cannibals. It just means that food supplies in stores would at first be limited, and then stores would be out of food supplies for months or even years until a proper communication medium is set up. When talking about money, it's obvious people nowadays feel safe when they have their cash stored in banks. But what would happen if you woke up to an internet outage? How would you withdraw your money without ending up in a mile-long queue? With problems in money circulation, it would become hard for employers to pay their employees. The whole working system of the world would have to be worked upon before things get into an order. The transformation would be from the internet information age to Stone Age, though. Number 2 is the chaos that would erupt. Many people would panic if the internet ever went out, and it would be more like a top-bottom approach, where first your businesses would collapse, causing your government to fail, and all these things would lead to the outraged people causing chaos. People would start stealing from one another. They would burn down things in despair and would have no respect for the local law authorities. With no internet and lack of circulation of information, governments will fail, and there will be need of the army to take over to restore order. Soldiers and tanks would replace the police, and there would be a sort of curfew for making people obey rules. This is the chaos that could arise within a nation. Coming to the bigger picture, nations would clash with one another for achieving resources that are necessary to keep the people happy. Wars would break out in doing so, and it could even cause the World War III to start. Restoring world order would become a tougher deal. Number 1 on the list is the security crisis issue. As the internet has become a widely influential source of information, nations use it to gather secret information and to keep an eye on other nations. The lack of internet would cause.
It's a fact. In the new economy, average people are becoming millionaires faster and easier than ever before. But how do they do it? According to
many problems for the security and intelligence agencies, as information sharing would be badly affected. Their response to it all would be hard to imagine. Some nations would respond to it in a vague way. But overall, it would be hard to predict as to how would the nations react. It's obvious that the tensions would increase and could even lead to a conflict. Loss of intelligence would also make it easier for terrorists to infiltrate and cause widespread destruction. So, that's it, guys. These are some of the possible things that could happen as a result of internet outage. The positive way to look at this is to realize that the men and women...
Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of GMS that rule and teach word and scriptures. Salutation to all my Akim out there doing this work in truth and faith and sincerity. Now, knowing what just occurred yesterday, there was a YouTube outage, lasted for a minimum of 45 minutes, and that's a prelude to what's going to happen, as, we just viewed in this video. This is a quick hit. I'm going to get right into it. This is Amos, chapter 8, verse 11. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, Yahweh, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine in bread, nor a thirst for water, but of hearing the words of the Lord. So that's a quick hit. I'm in it there, giving all praise to Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua Ba'ashim Rakakwadash. And until next time, Shalom.